So it's just after 7. I hope you can all hear me okay. My name's Teresa Van Gessel. I am the Business Development Manager for Thermomix for the north and west of Sydney. Our branch is called Vivid. And hopefully I will be able to help you with tonight's little workshop, get a little bit more value out of your Cookidoo subscription. Because Cookidoo is a fabulous tool and it can really make the difference in how you enjoy your Thermomix, whichever model you've got. So I'm going to start by screen sharing. And as soon as I get the right screen, which is always important. All right, so you can access Cookidoo in a number of different ways. So you'll see that you can access it, obviously, as I am now on my laptop. There's also a Cookidoo app, both for Android and for Apple. And of course, if you have a TM6, Cookidoo is actually available on your screen, on the screen of your TM6. So what I like to do with people who are starting out is, first of all, if you haven't actually set up your Cookidoo account yet, it's always a really good idea to do it on the website, because the website's where you can actually set up all those details. Then when you need to renew your subscription, you go to the website to do it. The app is fantastic for meal planning and finding recipes, but it's not good for the admin side of managing your account. So that is that's what I recommend for that. Once you go onto the Cookidoo website, you'll see that there is obviously a beautiful search bar to start off with. And the thing I love when you're on the website is you, of course, are welcomed by name, and everyone loves a bit of a personalised welcome. So hello, Teresa, what would I like to cook today? Well, wouldn't you like to know? So as you scroll down that first page, you'll see that the latest recipes that have been loaded onto the website appear in that site. Scroll down a bit further. There's always a particular recipe that's been highlighted. We might just pop you on mute. So the recipe spotlight on today is this vegetable chili that you can see. As you come down further, you'll see what has been most cooked this week. And I love this because it actually changes from week to week and really reflects the seasons that we're in and what people are eating. So, for example, at Christmas time, you'll see a lot of pavlova, cocktails, that sort of stuff. When winter hits, you see lots of, sauces, soups, curries. And then around summer, you see lots of salads and sorbets. So it's always a really nice way to get a little bit more inspiration about what you might be looking for. Then we've got this whole information section. Because at this time of year, a lot of people are camping. There's some camping recipes. I do take my Thermomix camping if I'm going to a powered site. It is the best way to have a holiday because you get all the good food with no work. So that's my tip. And then down the bottom here, it shows us the latest collections that have been loaded onto the website. Now, the barbecue cookbook, the basic cookbook, they're not new, but they've been updated on the website. So there's a few tweaks to some of those recipes, and that's why they'll appear there. The latest collection that's been released is this sourdough at home, which I do highly recommend if you like a bit of sourdough bread. So that's your first the landing page on the website. And I always encourage you to have a really good look around and explore, because you'll find things that you didn't even know you were looking for. But to get the most out of Cookidoo, you really want to be able to utilize the search function. So if you just click on the search button here, you'll see it takes me through to all the recipes in the order that they have last been loaded onto the website. And it shows me up the top here, we have filters. So it shows that the filter that's applied to the search is that we're only looking at Australian recipes at the moment. And it tells us that there's 2,649 Australian recipes. So not a bad start. Now, in terms of what you do with that information, once you're in your search bar, there's two different ways of searching. If you just want to have a bit of a browse, then what I recommend is, you'll see here you've got recipes. If you click on the arrow next to recipes, it gives you collections. And when you open up the collections tab, it's basically like looking at a library of cookbooks. So there's 120 different collections here. And because you're looking at the different topics, it becomes a really good way to then sort of dive in a bit further. So you might go, ooh, meals in a flash. That sounds good. That sounds like quick food. So you can click on the collection and the whole collection is then open for you. And you see at the top, there's 91 recipes in the collection, and that it is recipes that cover from midweek meals through to dinner parties, but everything is meant to be on the table in under 40 minutes. So that particular collection is aimed at quick food that still tastes good. And as you scroll down, you'll see there's a selection of breakfast foods to start off with, and you keep going down. Now, if we were going to start at the top here and have a look, let's have a look at the apricot Danish slice. The first thing we see is that there's a rating. So we can see that it's got a rating of 4.4 out of 5, which, you know, it's pretty good. That the total recipe takes 40 minutes. And you've got 3 dots here. Now, if you click on those 3 dots, you have some options. You might have decided you want to make it today. So you could add it to cook today, and it's going to go onto your meal plan for today. So we'll do that just so that you can see it. And you can see now it's now planned for the 30th of September. You could also bookmark it, and that means that when you go to your recipes, it's going to appear at the top of your recipes. You can add it to a collection. Now, what that means is that you might have, in fact, let's have a look. If I say add it to a collection, these are the collections that I've created. So I can go through and find one. Now I'm going to say that it's a breakfast kind of food. So I'm going to add it to my breakfast collection. And that means next time I'm looking for something, you know, a little bit different to make for breakfast, I can go to my collections, and I'll show you how to do that in a minute. And I've got some suggestions there. So when we actually open up the recipe, we have those options here too. We can immediately go for cook today, or we can go for add. And you saw, so we could bookmark it. We've already added it to a collection. We've already done cook today. But we can also say, well, I really want to make this, so I'm going to make sure I have all the ingredients. I'm going to add it to my shopping list. So let's do that. So when you're looking at the recipe, of course, it's got the basics like how difficult it is, how long it takes to make, how long it takes to prepare, and then how long it takes to make, and how many portions it creates. Comes down, you have your list of ingredients, the steps for preparation, your nutritional value, which can be really useful, the items that you might need. The other thing I particularly like is the tips and tricks, because this is where you get all the advice on how you can substitute tinned fruit if you don't have fresh, how you might want to serve it with mascarpone cheese, if you've got leftover apricots, how you can use them. You know, all of these different suggestions that come along for each recipe, so that you have an idea about what you can do with it. The other thing that is useful to note are these tags. So if you were looking for a breakfast dish in particular, you might actually just click on the breakfast tag and see what else comes up under breakfast. And can I tell you, there's a lot. And the reason that they're coming up as doubles there, you'll notice up here, the only filter we're applying is the breakfast tag. We don't have the Australian tag. So we're actually picking up recipes from all over the world that are potential breakfast food. So you get everything from the chakalaka, which sounds cool, grilled mushrooms, you know, coffees, breads. So by using your tags, you open up a whole, like all the things that have been tagged with that, but from across the world. Okay, let's go back to our front page so that we don't get too confused. So again, if we go to our search bar, you remember up here is where you get to look at collections. The other thing I didn't show you was, if I open up the sourdough collection, you'll see there's a save button. Now, because this is brand new, I haven't actually saved it. So I'm going to click on that save button, and now it's saved to my recipes. And what it means is that if you have a TM6, when you next turn on your TM6, this whole collection will download and be saved on your TM6, so that whether you're connected to the internet or not in the future, all of these recipes will be available to you. if you've got a TM5, all you have to do after you've saved it here is when you next turn on your TM5, you want to hit the sync button on your screen so that it syncs through your cook key and you have it available on the cook key when you next want to have a look at it. So that being said, we saved it into my recipes, and we also saved that apricot Danish into the breakfast. So let's have a look at where they've ended up. So we have up here at the top, we have my recipes. And over here is where we have this guide of all created and saved. Now, the created are the collections that I've made myself. The saved are the pre-made collections that we've already looked at on the website. So if I click on saved, you'll see here are all the cookbooks collections that I've previously saved. And if we go down far enough alphabetically, we'd come to the sourdough that we've just saved on there. When I go to the created collection, you'll see that's where that breakfast collection that I saved the apricot Danish slice to pops up. You can see my breakfasts tend to normally be a little bit more egg and veggie based than apricot and pastry based. Personal preference. So it means that, again, all of these collections are on my TM6 or on my cook key for my TM5 or on my website if I'm using a TM31. And it means that instead of having to remember, oh, what was that thing I thought I'd make for breakfast one day? I can go into my created collections, find my breakfast collection and see what I was thinking of. I have other collections. You'll see here I've got dinner under 30, so dinners that take less than 30 minutes to make. And you've got a busy life, sometimes it's handy to not have to think too hard. I have one down here that's snacks, and again, ideas of things that I can sort of make and have in the pantry so that when the kids come demanding food, I've got something ready to go for them, and it hasn't taken long to make. So I've got a collection there when I sort of think, oh, we need to restock. Being school holidays at the moment, there's a lot of that. And you would have seen when we first came in all, bookmarks appears at the very top. So if you've bookmarked something, it's right at the top and will always appear in that first bit before you actually start searching for anything. So if it's something that you make regularly or something that you'd like to make, the margaritas would be a like to make, not making regularly, you can pop it into your bookmarks and it'll always appear at the top of your list of your My Recipes. Okay, continuing on. We also, you might remember, we saved the apricot Danish, or we said that we wanted to cook it today. So if we go to my week, this will show you that that is in for today, and I haven't actually done my meal plan for the rest of the week. So it's the only thing sitting there. You'll also see over here on my shopping list that I may have actually been planning other dishes that I just haven't got around to scheduling yet, but I've still got them here. So the shopping list is one of my particular favorites when it comes to Cookidoo. So we can actually look at show the ingredients. Now there's two options here. You could look at it by category or by recipes. So if you just want to look at what you need for the apricot Danish, you can go to my recipes and click down and have a look and say, do I need almonds? Nope, I know I've got them. I'll take them off the list. I don't need caster sugar. Definitely don't need eggs because my chickens are laying. I've got puff pastry in the freezer and I've got butter because I made it, but you know what? I do need those other things. So that I can go through each of those recipes and decide which one I want to, I'm making and work out what I need for it. Then if I come back over here to categories, you'll see I could also do the same, but in the different categories of food. So coming down, I can say, well, I don't need to buy lemon juice. I actually do have apples and I have blueberries, but I need to buy beef and chicken thighs. So these are for some of the other recipes. And there's 2 entries for sesame oil. I've actually got heaps of sesame oil, so I'll take that off and I'll take those eggs off. So you end up with shopping list. The beautiful thing is down the bottom, you can add in additional items. Now you can see I've got milk as a standing item because we always need milk in this house. And if I go to the pantry and go, oh, actually I'm out of blanched almonds, I can untick it and it's back on my shopping list. So I've ended up with that general shopping list of what I want to make the dishes that I've got listed there. Now this is the part that is particularly magical as far as I'm concerned. Up here we have options. So on the options, we can share it. And if you click on the share button, it gives you the option basically to copy the whole list so that you can then cut and paste it into an email or, notes on your phone or a Word document or whatever. You can send it to the person who you're sending to do the shopping, all of those things. But this is the part that I love. Order ingredients. If I click on that, it will, in a moment, take me through to my Woolworths shopping cart. And I can now go through and say, which of the almond essence brands do I want? Do I want the Queen, or do I want to swap it for a different extract or a different brand or whatever it might be? So you can go through, do that, pick the brands that you know and love, and then you can add it to your cart down the bottom here. And that means you can either have it home delivered or you can do click and collect. So if you've done a meal plan for the week, you've done your shopping list, you've put it through and had it home delivered, you know that when you get home each night or each afternoon and you go to your Thermomix and you go to the weekly meal plan and it says, right, today is Wednesday, we're having black rice and chicken, that you've got all the ingredients because you've already bought them. They're all there ready to go. Pull them out and dinner is easy to make because you've got everything that you need at your fingertips. So that is one of my particular favourite features. And I hope that actually worked on screen share and you're able to see the Woolies parts. Sometimes you don't always see the screens that pop up. So I hope you were able to see that. Okay, the other things that it's always useful to understand is how you actually do a bit more searching. So I talked about jumping in, looking at cookbooks and finding something that fits, what you're looking for. But of course, sometimes you actually just want to know straight away what you want to make. So what is something that you might think of? How about we'll go with something a bit more savoury, and I'm going to type in curry, which is fairly broad. So curry with the Australian filter, which is your default filter, gives you 201 results. Now, you might think, oh my goodness, that's a bit overwhelming. So this is where the filters come in. So you click on your filters and you can say, I'm looking for a main dish, not fish. Let's just check, not vegetarian. Yep, I want a main dish meat. So that's going to narrow it down. Now I'm down to 57 results, a curry that has meat in it and is a main dish. Then if I had a particular ingredient that I wanted to use, say for example, I had chicken thigh, I can actually type in chicken thigh fillets. And as you can see, it's come up. And again, I'm hoping you can see this pop-up box. Now I've got 9 results. So by using my filters, and you'll see up here, main dishes meat, chicken thigh fillets, and Australia, I've got 9 results. So I can go down and say, well, there's a couple of butter chicken options, chicken and yogurt. The quick chicken curry is very good. And I'm a big fan of the creamy coconut chicken curry. It's something we make at our cooking experiences, and there's a reason we do it. It's so good. But you might look at all of these and go, still haven't found what I'm actually looking for. None of these are really just hitting what I want. So you can go back to your filters, and when you come down to the bottom here, you can unclick Australia and broaden your filters. But unfortunately, in this particular case, what I've chosen still only gives us the 9 results. So there aren't a broader field. Let's try a different one. If we were looking, I'm going to go with ricotta, which is a search I'd already done before. Oh, I want to take off chicken thighs and main dishes. So if I search for ricotta with no filters at all, there's 1,063 recipes, including how to make your own ricotta, 2 different ways. And then all the dishes you can make with ricotta. So I might want to narrow that down a bit. So if I use those filters and scroll down, what I can do is say, I would like to only have recipes in the language that I'm able to read confidently. And despite my surname, I don't read Dutch. So I'm going to pick English, but I'm not worried about which country it comes from. I just want a recipe that's in English. So that's got me down to 131 results. Just by putting the English filter over the top. And again, there's some amazing, we've got savoury, we've got sweet, we've got a bit of everything happening there. And you might say, oh, I really need to narrow it a bit more. I would like to make something that is gluten-free because I have a guest coming for dinner. I've got ricotta. I want to make something for them and they're gluten-free. So this is where our tags can come in. And you might remember we looked at tags before from a recipe. We went, oh, there's a breakfast tag. We'll see what breakfast comes up. What we can also do here is by typing in, I started typing gluten-free. I've now narrowed that down. I've got ricotta recipes that are in English and that are gluten-free, and I've got 17 results. So those filters are across the top, and I've just narrowed it down. So I now have a much smaller list to pick from. I've still got that beautiful range of everything from savoury through to sweet. And can I tell you, I made this cheese spread the other day. It was so good. Slightly too good. I ate far more of it than I should have. Cheesecakes, whatever. So you can use those filters to expand or narrow your search based on what you're looking for. So let's clear that one. Now, I've covered my recipes. We've covered our week. I'm going to stop sharing and pop on and see, do any of you have any questions? If you'd like to jump off mute and ask questions, you're very welcome. Or if you're more comfortable typing them in the chat, I'm happy, excuse me, very happy to help with that. But if there are no questions, then I can leave you to go and start playing with Cookidoo and setting up your own collections and doing your own searches and setting up a shopping list. Hayley, that is an excellent question. At the moment, no. The ability to do online shopping with Woolworths came online at the beginning of July. It hasn't been widely advertised because we're still just making sure that it's all working properly, but it's there for customers to use. The reason we haven't connected with Coles yet is because their website interface is much harder to connect with. So the technicians behind the scenes are working with it. So the people who actually do this work are based in Germany. And so, because Cookidoo is an international platform, they've been working with each of the countries to find the interface that they can most easily connect with. And so far, they're still in conversation with Coles, but they haven't quite got there yet. So it's not that we're giving Woolies preference, it's that they happen to have a website that was much easier for us to connect with and make the shopping lists happen. So do we have any other questions? Hayley's got another one. I'm going to ask, Christine, I have actually recorded this and I will pop some links up and you'll be able to share it with customers if you would like to. Hayley, what can I do for you?
On the TM5 or on Cookidoo previously, I hadn't used it much previously, but I'd been said that if you wanted to use it, look at something like a Swedish recipe, you had to go into Google and do Google Translator to get it in. How does that work for the TM6 if you're on the TM6 and you want to look at a Chinese recipe or a Swedish recipe?
So I have not had huge amounts of success with translation. Other people have had great success.
Yeah.
So I'll go back to screen sharing so we can actually look at the screen itself. If we go back to our main screen and we go to our search bar and we take away the Australian filter, you'll see there's actually 63,000 recipes available internationally. And these first ones are in foreign text. So pancakes, I understand. The rest of the text there is not one that I am familiar with. So when you open this on your Thermomix, that is what it's going to look like, which is fantastic for people for whom this is their normal text, because it means they don't need to have, on the TM5, to have Asian language characters, you had to have an Asian language enabled machine so that the characters could be read by the software. So this is actually fantastic. But yes, if you want to read that, you need to use Google Translate, and Google Translate does not exist on the TM6. Some people have had success with using like putting their iPad over the screen and using their camera to then connect with Google Translate, have it translated that way. Others will have their computer sitting next to them or their iPad sitting next to them. And as they go through each step, they'll translate it and follow it. Others like me stick to the languages they know and don't mess around with technology too much.
I think there's more than enough recipes on there that are in English that I'll be fine. I just was double checking.
Oh, no, and look, I have to say, I always love it when I meet customers who have multiple languages. So I delivered a Thermomix a year or so ago to a couple who both spoke English very well, but her original language was Taiwanese and his original language was Portuguese. And I was so excited because between the two of them and their three languages, they could access thousands of recipes compared to someone who just spoke English. And they were both excited to find traditional recipes from their childhood, you know, for example, that they could now make themselves. But yes, if you are like me and a fairly ignorant only English speaker, Google Translate on your computer is your best option.
Okay, thank you very much.
If anyone actually knows what script this is for language, I'd love to know, because I don't actually recognise it.
Me neither.
Yeah. Now I'm just checking. I love that. Sounds Greek to me. Could be, but maybe not. Nicole, I will be sharing the link. Yes, to the recording, so that you can have another look and hopefully find it useful. Hayley, any other questions from you? It's important you have all the answers because you have a big day tomorrow. Hayley is starting her business as a Thermomix consultant tomorrow. So that is very exciting, and it's good for you to understand as much as you can so that you can help your customers.
I'm trying to figure out Zoom right now, so I'm ready to go tomorrow because the first one is a Zoom one.
Ah, well, when we've finished recording this, if you want to stay on, I'm happy to help.
That'd be lovely. Thank you very much.
Now, does anyone else have any questions before we finish up? Okay, in the absence of that, I will say thank you all very much for joining me. Thank you for participating. I love the thumbs up, Cherry. I spoke to you on the phone yesterday, so it's nice to have you on here tonight. And Christine, you're very welcome. I will hopefully see you all soon at another one of our classes. If you're not part of the insiders group of Thermomixes on Facebook, then please look for it and join, because that's where we advertise the classes that we have. And we have a Cookidoo workshop every Wednesday, some during the day, some in the evening, so that if you want to come back and find out a bit more from someone who might have different hints and tips, we're always happy to have you join us and share the knowledge that we've all gained through playing with Cookidoo. So I'm going to stop recording now.